Hey guys, we're back. We got the rear end subframe and trailing arm assembly is back on, bolted up together. I went ahead, like I said, and just kind of went over the trailing arms, cleaned them up. They were in really nice shape, so I didn't think they needed too much. Hit them with some engine paint, and I think it came out actually really well. I would prefer more of a matte finish. I could only find semi-gloss or flat. I don't like flat, but they didn't have any satin, so I just went with semi-gloss. I think it looks pretty good. I mean, no one's really ever going to see it under the car anyway. I apologize, the neighbor is having a lawn mowed, so you might be hearing that. So we got rev shift bushings in the trailing arms as well. I didn't put these in, but just like the subframe bushings, they split apart, have a sleeve in the center, lube everything up, put them together. One thing you want to note is some orientation on the bushings themselves. The fatter one goes on the outside, thinner one on the inside. And again here, fatter one on the outside, thinner on the inside. The other orientation, the bolts. The nut is going to be on the outside of the arms. Really can only go one way because there's no room with this subframe bushing in place to slide the bolt in and out. And then on this side, because of the curvature of the subframe, again, you can't slide the bolts in that way. So just make sure you're kind of planning for that. I took all the hardware through the cheek poker, got them cleaned up. These are not torqued yet because this is a bushing that rotates. I'm going to wait until I got it on the car and have weight on it, simulating ride height. Then we will torque them to spec. But other than that, I'm really happy with this progress. I went ahead and ordered a couple more things that I need to finish putting this back together. If you remember, I need the flexible brake hose. I'm going to get 2 new clips for both sides for the hard brake line. They're super cheap, so we got those coming. And then pretty much, rear sway bar lengths, end lengths. The sway bar I have, those bushings are pretty shot. I'm going to throw some paint on the sway bar as well, most likely. I think tomorrow I might stab this in. Normally I put it in with the diff, but I might try to do it without, although I don't know, it might be too much weight and I won't want to rest on the jack properly. So I don't know, we'll see. I'm half tempted to roll the chassis out and pressure wash underneath the back before this goes back in too. I don't know why. Again, no one's going to see it, but I don't know. I just kind of like put things back looking better than the way I touched them, and when else is it going to get washed? So I don't know. We'll have to see. I got to clean up that rear diff, get some paint on that as well, and we'll have that to throw back in to this assembly to throw back underneath the car. From there, I have to rebuild the CV shafts. Both the boots are leaking, so I've got kits for that. And then redo the calipers. Just again, gonna scuff them up, shoot them with some fresh paint. And eventually I'll order brakes. I don't know how long before this thing's actually gonna be back on the road again. So I'm just gonna throw those crappy rotors on it just so I can roll it around and have brakes. But before we go ahead and put it on the road, we'll get some new brakes and rotors on that as well. So I will bring you back once we get the diff ready to go, and then probably we'll slap it on the subframe, stab it back under the car. All right, well, we got things have escalated quickly. We've got the rear end back together. I'm not sure if I showed that in the previous video. I started to work on the CV shaft. Shafts I should say, because the boots are torn. This is the old outside boot. This one's actually not too bad, but the other one was cracked. Both the insides were. And this is the boot they sent. This is the boot that it calls for. Obviously I don't need this ring. I did see some remarks that you might have to remove that in order to fit, which wouldn't, I mean, one, if it was true, but that's not going to fit on the CV shaft anyways. The diameter's too small. But the other side of it is, if you remove that, you lose the clamp. The clamp's gone, so you'd have to find another clamp. So basically what that's telling me is that the CV shaft is not from the 91. I ordered boots based on the 91 VIN. I think the inner is correct, which I got laying around here somewhere. The garage is gotten pretty messed up trying to work on this. I was trying to throw this back in. I'll show you why in a second, why it's not going to go back in right the second and what I'm working on. Let's go over, look at the two diffs real quick. So this is the diff that's out of the 85. That's a diff that's out of the 91. Virtually they're the same. One thing that I noticed, if you look at it, the flanges are actually different thicknesses, but the bolt spacing is the same. So here's the other shaft. That inside does bolt to both, so that's not a problem. It's just a matter of what is that outside. From what I can tell, that it looks like it's maybe an M3 CV shaft, or at least the outer CV half. I found a diagram for the boot measurement and it matches what's on that shaft, so that's what I'm gonna try. I just wanted to quick paint it up. The diff that's gonna go back in it, it's a 391. The 91 had a 410. Both are open, so I mean there's really not much difference between the two really. I'm not going to replace this bushing, in part just because it is in good shape. I mean it's hard. I can still push my finger into it, but it's not cracked or anything. This one is definitely past it. I was going to press in a poly, but if we are going to the M54 engine, I'm probably going to upgrade the diff, put an LSD. So I'm going to save that poly bushing for the LSD. So we'll just throw this in there for now. It's easy enough to change out. Even if I pull the whole cover off, it's not a big deal. So that's not a huge issue. I was trying to put the subframe in without putting the diff in, but it really doesn't support itself with those trailing arms. It really wants to rotate off the jack. So I need to put the diff back on, but that's really moot anyways. I'll show you here real quick. So right now, see, this is the stud that the subframe has to go up, and then looking at relationship to the drive shaft, that sticks out farther. Basically, there's a hole in the subframe that has to slide into, and then up onto the chassis, and that's just not going to happen. So next step is to take the drive shaft off. So come back around to this side, and of course you gotta pull the exhaust off. You'll notice there are 4 bolt holes. There was only 1 nut. All the other studs are there. I don't know why they had this off and only put 1 nut back in, but that's what they did. So able to get the O2 sensor out. That's not a big deal. We got our cat. I chopped the shield that covers the drive shaft, and someone's been busy. These are all like acorn shells or something. I don't know the exact nut, but they look kind of like acorns. If you guys are local to Georgia, you know what these are. Let me know. They were also all inside the subframe. That sounded like a rain stick. You know, the Australian rain sticks, when you turn them and they you know, make that rattle, the sound. So something's been busy under there. So we'll clean that up real quick. I don't have my light, but I came in here and I cleaned up the wheel wells, just hit it with some rubberized undercoating just to kind of make it look good. There was a lot of overspray from when they painted it white and just looked like crap. The stuff's okay. I was hoping for a little thicker texture, but it is what it is. I'm not getting crazy with it. Like I said, it's a refresherization, not a restoration. We do have our sway bar in. Much easier to get it in with the subframe out of the way, because it does have to go over that fuel fill. And it's just easier to get to the bolts with the subframe out. Got the 2 new soft lines up there that you can see. Got those installed. But the next step is going to be getting that drive shaft off, which really shouldn't be a big deal. So I got that tray off, or that heat shield. Center support bearing needs to come down. Undo at the guibo, it'll get out of my way, and we can get the subframe back up and in. But you know what happens with these projects, you get the while you're in theirs. I really wanted to roll this thing outside and pressure wash under here. That's just not going to happen. I can't move this safely with the rear end out of it, which really sucks because I did move it a little bit and now it's sticking out of the garage. So I've got to get the subframe back in and some wheels on it so I can roll it back in the garage. Not a huge deal, but here's some of these soft spots that I was telling you guys about before. There's a little hole right there. And that drain area, that's pretty soft. The back side of this is pretty soft. I did cut out floor pan out of the 91. But really what that kind of means is gas tank's gonna have to come out. I can't think of a better time to do it while the subframe's out. I got a lot more room to work. You can take it in and out with the subframe in place, but I think right now I'm just gonna drop it. Not a big deal. Get that down, and because I can't have this in place if I'm welding floors in. So when I get the drive shaft out, I'll drop this stupid gas tank. I need to drain it anyways. It stinks. It's pretty bad. And I'm sure all the flexible lines need to be replaced as well. So I'm gonna work on that. Get the drive shaft out, then we'll start looking at dropping this gas tank down, and then hopefully stabbing the subframe back in so I can roll the car around. I think once I get it rolling again, I can get it out, and I can jack it up, and I can pressure wash most of that. I'm not gonna worry about undercoating it. It's got undercoat all over it. It just, you know, I like cleaning things up, making them a little nicer than when they were when I started working on it. So I think that's what we're gonna do, and I'll bring you guys back when I get some progress. All right, well, we got drive shaft out. Let's look at that flex disc real quick. It's cracked, of course. Why wouldn't it be? So you can see our Hot Boy chassis mount shifter. Let's see our trans mounts. I mean, they're there. They're not too cracked up, but you know, if I was gonna do anything with it, they need to be replaced. Let's see the rest under here. Try to move around with so you guys can see. So now we got the gas tank out. You guys might be upside down here. Let me reorient you. Sorry about that. Yeah, so gas tank is out. Wasn't too terrible to do. It's nice and solid under there, which is good. Got some hoses that we'll have to replace, but no big deal. Again, here's another look at the rot underneath. Now the back of the floor in that area is bad too, but I cut a lot out of that parts car, so we should be good. Another development here. Control arm bushings are totally shot, both sides. Not a surprise. I figured pretty much every rubber on this car is gonna be bad. But I mentioned before, I thought there was some bell housing bolts missing. No, they're all missing, every single one. I can't get you up there to see the top of the bell housing, but there is not a single bell housing bolt in this. Why? Who does that? I don't get it. Unless someone was working on this and just threw it back together to have it together. I don't but why would you put bolts in at least 2 something? So I mean, that just sucks, because if I had to buy these bolts new, I mean, you're looking, I don't know, probably 30-40 bucks just in hardware to get OEM bolts, and on a combination that I'm probably not gonna keep. So I'm getting closer to the decision of, do we go any further with this drivetrain? I'm thinking we just keep going and just keep pulling parts and fixing along as we go. So That probably just means that this drivetrain's coming out and I'll throw it up for sale. I don't know if you can see it, but this strut up here has some junkyard writing on it. I didn't see that before, but it doesn't really matter. My battery's dying on my light here, guys, sorry. Doesn't much matter because I saved the front struts out of the 91, and that has vented disc and 51 millimeter struts. These are 45, I believe, and solid disc. So you get a little bigger strut. Although I hear the valving's the same, but you know, bigger's got to be better. And you know, obviously having vented disc is better. Sorry, this light is really about to die. So other than that, there's not much to show back here. I don't know that I'm gonna get the rear subframe in by the time I clean up tools and move stuff around. It's already getting close to dinner time and I'm getting pooped. But let me get you guys out here real quick. So garage is an absolute mess. So that means I'm also probably not going to get the garage door closed tonight, but I mean, that wouldn't be a first time. So there's drive shaft, CSB is shot. So again, you know, I don't know how much this CSB is, but probably 30, 40 bucks. Another flex disc, probably about the same. All for a drivetrain that I'm probably not going to use. Something was rubbing on it as well. I don't know what would have been rubbing up there. I don't know if you can use any of this drive shaft for the M54 swap or not. I'll have to investigate that further. Here's our gas tank, which is in good shape. No one used it as jack point, which is good, but I think someone got the wrong sending unit and they plumbed this line into the top, which the problem is that this bend is too tall and it sticks up and you can't put the cover plate on the interior. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to see if I can get maybe a plug and then, you know, JB Weld gas it shut, or maybe I can find a part out with a good gas tank. I'm not spending 300 bucks on a tank if I don't have to. So, but all these flexible lines will get replaced. I mean, the hard lines are in good shape. We'll just clean all that up, throw some undercoat on it, call it good. And I drained all the fuel out. We had about, what did you call that? 2.5, close to 3 gallons. There was some crap in it, in this bucket already, but got you some right from the source. Not the worst looking fuel, but you know, it's definitely older. Oh, and she stinks. So it's probably good that we drained all that out and aren't continuing to run that through. It did fire on it. I think I did put a couple gallons of fresh fuel in this. So you know what they say, the solution to pollution is dilution. So I don't know if that's totally true or not, but yeah, I think I'm gonna clean up tools and put this away for the night. She can stick out a little bit overnight. It's not a big deal. We get back on it tomorrow and hopefully get the rear end back in. I need to double check to make sure that I can get that tank back in with the rear end in place. I think I can. It's kind of close, so I just want to do my homework before I go ahead and put this rear end back in and then find out I can't put the tank in. So anywho, I will bring you back when we get some progress, probably tomorrow. All right, guys, well, we're back, new day. See the driveway. Oh, actually what you see is the car is in the driveway. That's a big accomplishment. It hasn't seen the light of day in, I don't know, a month or two. But we got the subframe all together with the rear trailing arms bolted up, all rev shift bushings. Got the diff on. All pretty much ready to stab it back in. Like I said, I wasn't going to do this bushing here just because it's in good shape and I don't know that I'm going to be using this diff anyway. So I don't want to use up that rev shift bushing. It'd probably be all right to transfer it over again, but you know, this one's fine, so we'll just use it. So since we were able to get this thing outside, I was then able to get under here and pressure wash. And now we got some light, I can kind of show you guys what's going on. So since I pressure wash, I've also gone ahead and hit it with some undercoating. Makes it look really, really nice. Here you can see this side is in really good shape of the floor, except for, sorry, this little hole down here. That guy's gonna have to get cut out. But unfortunately, this side, it's pretty soft and nasty. So I didn't spray any undercoat on it. It's all got to stay open with the gas tank out while I do that repair. I don't really want to blow myself up, so we're gonna leave that out. Then once we get a patch, we'll seal it, undercoat it, and it'll be like new. Trans tunnel washed out a little bit here, as much as I could reach with the pressure washer. Like I said, I'm not going for perfect, just better than what it was. Certainly the undercoating definitely makes things look snazzy. So I did the wheel wells prior. They're all set to go. So I think what I'm gonna do is go ahead and get this thing stabbed in here. I'm not gonna make you watch because it's it still is kind of a pain in the ass. You gotta slide it up on these two studs, one on each side. You can kind of see them there. And it's just kind of a balancing act, trying to get it all to line up and up without being wonky this way, forward and back. So I'm just gonna work on that and get it knocked out. I'll bring you back once we get it in. All right, well, probably about an hour later, we have a rear end. So we got the diff all in there, subframe, rear trailing arms, all set to go. It's just a lot of back and forth, moving around, because you got to get both these outer bolts in just right, or it won't slide up evenly. Can't be tilted towards the back, can't be side to side. So it's a PETA, but we got her in there, used a couple of jacks and hammers and all kinds of things. So what's next? If you remember last video, we've got an issue with the CV boots, so I can't put any axles in, which that kind of stinks. But I did get a shipment today from STP Euro, so we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna replace these stabilizer links. So just gotta get them off. They're on there pretty good. Replace those, get our spring pads and spring in here. We'll throw a shock to hold that up. And I haven't decided yet, so I'm gonna put the brakes back together or just throw the wheels on. I mean, it's 6 in one, half a dozen the other, really. We're not driving it anytime soon. Maybe, in fact, I will just leave all that off until we get the axles all set. Then I'll kind of just monkey with both sides at once. All I care at this point today is that it rolls. But you know, look at the undercoating. Came out really, really nice. You can see that this fill pipe, I'm gonna have to figure out how to, if someone still makes that, hopefully. And there was a vent tube for the gas tank. I don't know if you can kind of see that hose that's kind of chewed off in the end. That needs to be replaced, and I get another look at the back of that floor. That'll get cut out sometime in the near future. Probably I'll pull the carpeting out and get a good look at the floors from the inside too. With all the undercoating on it, you know, it kind of hides stuff. So I'll take a look from the inside. Maybe I'll hit that with a wire wheel, pull the seam seal off, poke around, see what's solid. But we got her in. I don't have the brackets for here on yet. I just used some nuts and a washer to hold the subframe in. I'm still painting the bracket that goes here and bolts into the side here. I just painted them this afternoon. They're still a little wet, so I don't want to handle them at this point. But we got plenty to work on in the meantime. Like I said, I just want to get it rolling. I have the sending unit for the gas tank of the 91 car that has just the inline pump, so I think I can ditch this, and when I redo the tank to put in, we'll get rid of all this and tuck the wires up somewhere safe so we don't short out on anything. I think that's the way to go. Just one pump, simplify things. Yeah, other than that, I'm going to go ahead and Probably get those sway bar lengths. Maybe I'll work on the hard line coming down. I don't know. I just at this point kind of want to get this thing so I can roll it back in the garage. I'm getting kind of tired already for the night. So, all right, I will bring it back when I get this back in. All right, guys, I'm gonna apologize in advance for video quality. My battery died. Didn't have a charger out here, but we got rear end all in. We got our Gas-O-Matic KYB shock in, springs, eibach lowering springs. Pretty much everything's set to go. Sway bar is hooked up, although I got to torque everything down. Obviously the brake cables and all the other stuff, brake hardware needs to go on. But for today, we are just going to go ahead and call this job complete. That's this portion of it. I don't know where we're exactly video-wise. Just been kind of recording as I go along. I'm gonna have to break this up into probably 2-3 releases, or this will be, you know, an hour or 2 hours long. So I'm gonna cut it here. I'm gonna throw the wheels back on, get it on the ground. I might pressure wash it real quick, and then I'll just bring it back up for a wrap up. All right, well, I think we're gonna call this an end to one of the videos. Basically this, we've got the car back on the ground, we've got the rear end in, springs, shocks, all new bushings from Revmatch, except for the diff mount, which I keep mentioning. We're gonna wait to see what diff I'm gonna end up going with at some point. My neighbor gave me these, I think they're Style 5 15-inch wheels. I like them. I've always liked the BBS look. They're in okay shape. I mean, they need to be redone, just like the rest of the car. But give her a little spritz just to get some of the grime off. It really didn't help. The paint's pretty bad. It's all got tons of crap in it, and it's not worth me spending any time with. I just want to spray some of the stuff off of it. And so what do we have left to do in the back? Need to rebuild the CVs. I think I might have found the right boots. Dimension wise, they're the same boot as the outer boot of a E36 M3. So I got those on order, but that'll be over a week before that comes in. Then we can finish up the CVs, get those put in. I've got to finish installing the brake hardware. I got to rebuild or I say rebuild, repaint the calipers and brackets. On the back end will be done. I don't know what we're doing for shocks yet. I got the eibach lowering springs in the back. It's still quite a bit of wheel gap. I was hoping for a little bit lower, slam look, but just a little bit lower. But compared to the front, you know, it looks like I'm ready to go rally racing with the front. And yeah, there's also a lot of positive camber up here. I don't know why they're sticking out so proud. And the wheels turned slightly, which is probably accentuating it, but this side doesn't look nearly as bad. But you know, all the front end components need to be redone. Control arms, bushings. I've got a different steering rack because off the 91 car, because this one's puking all over the place. The boots are torn, the other one was in good shape. So we'll run that for now unless we find a good deal on maybe a Z3 or another yellow tag rack. I knew I should have kept the yellow tag that I had from the Turbo Turd, but here we are. So I think that's gonna be the next step. Finish up the brakes, get the CVs done, then that'll finish up with the back end. From here, I really need to just get in the garage and go through everything, you know, parting out the Turbo Turd, parting out this. I've got bins full of stuff strewn all over the garage. I need to get it organized, know what I'm working with. And then I think I'm going to post the M10 for sale along with the transmission. It's a Getrag 240, I believe. There was one other option, but I think this is the Getrag. And then I'll start looking either for a Getrag 260, which I guess will mate to the M54, or, you know, who knows, I could maybe find a 6-speed to throw in the 330 Ci, then I'll use my ZF 5-speed out of that for this. I don't know, lots of options, but we're quite a ways away yet from that. So the next thing we got to do is finish this up, then get organized, figure out what we're doing drivetrain wise. Oh, and body work. The exterior, that's way down the road. If I do anything, it's probably just gonna be a Mako scuff and shoot. I'll knock this white paint all the way down. I mean, it's not sticking at all. It's peeling off. I mean, that's the original silver underneath, and even on the trunk is popping off. So I need to get rid of all the white paint anyway. Like I said, maybe we'll just do like a Mako scuff and shoot. If I do all the prep work, take all the stuff off it, I think it'll come out pretty decent. And certainly be better than what we have here. I gotta get in here, pull this carpet out, pressure wash it, and then I think I'm gonna dye that black because we're going with tan interior. That's what was in the 91. I think that'll go well pretty much with any color that I decide to do the outside. I'm still torn. You know, I don't want the white. These look good in white, but I don't want white. I might go back to the original silver, or maybe I'll go with something crazy. Maybe I'll find a fun, you know, M3 color or something like that. Or, you know, obviously I like my Toyotas. Maybe I'll find a TRD Pro color I like. We can paint that again. You know, tan will go with most of those options. So I think we'll call this one quits. Again, sorry about the video quality. My phone died and I'm on my other one, which is not as good, obviously. But all right, well, thanks again for watching. Make sure like, share, subscribe. Appreciate you all watching, and we'll see you in the next one.